I'm Michael at SwissWatchExpo, and it's good to be back after being gone for a little hiatus. And I've got one of my absolute favorite watches of all time here to talk to you about. This is the From the Moon to Mars limited series of the Omega Speedmaster Professional. So you know that we are huge fans of the Omega Speedmaster Professional here at SwissWatchExpo, and this is no exception. It's one of our all-time favorite watches. It's one of the most iconic watches that's ever been made, and everybody should have one in your collection. If you don't, you know what to do. Click and buy. But this one is really special, and we've talked a lot about the specific attributes about the Speedmaster many times. The finish of the case, the sort of turned lugs that are high polish and brushed combination, the profile of the bezel. You know, all of this is interesting, but what's even more interesting about this particular model, if you want your watch to have a little bit more flair than the typical Speedmaster, I understand wanting the sort of the one that is the standard of the industry. I understand wanting that one. But if you want something that fits that mold but is a little bit more character, a little bit of color on the dial, a little bit of a limited edition, you really couldn't go wrong with this one. There's a lot of limited editions out there that celebrate a certain mission. They have the mission seal in the 9 o'clock subdial. But this one really goes back to the early 2000s. President George W. Bush gave a speech where he sort of laid out the future of NASA. It had been, 40 years at that point since we had been to the moon. And he threw down a challenge similar to what Kennedy did in '61 when he said in 2002, I think it was, that the goal would be for us to return to the moon and then use that as a launching point to get to Mars. Now, we've been to Mars a lot of times since then with the various Mars rovers. We've carried out a lot of the experiments that would have been done by astronauts on Mars. But the fact is, we've never set foot on another planet. So when Omega saw this great opportunity to make a commemorative watch, this one right down here in the sweep between 3 and 6, it actually says From the Moon to Mars. And so that's what really this watch is based on. And you have here in the subdials, you have a photorealistic depiction of the moon at 6 o'clock and Earth at 9 and then Mars at 3. Now, it gives you a little bit of color. That sort of red, white, blue combination always looks great, whether we're talking about a great variety of national flags use that color combination. But since we're really talking about NASA and the original moonshot program being started back up and trying to get back to the moon and then to Mars, we're really celebrating all things NASA, all things United States. When you look at this, it has the really nice heavy-duty clasp. The engraving is real deep and very crisp and very well defined. It does have the 2-button release and then a machined clasp inside, unlike the stamped steel ones of the previous years. The case back has the typical writing about being flight qualified by NASA for all manned space missions, but then it also says From the Moon to Mars, and it has a limited production number. Now, it's not a limited edition where it's like number 100 of 1,000, but they are numbered, and you can see that on the website. When you click on the picture of it, you'll be able to see what the number is. But overall, the fact that you're getting a fantastic moon watch with the original Hesalite crystal, the 1861 hand-wound mechanical movement, and then that extra little splash of color, I think I might have just sold myself on getting this one in addition to the more plain vanilla Speedmaster. So give us a call, check and see if it's still in stock. You can also search on our website, Moon to Mars. Just search that phrase in the search bar, and you'll see what we've got in stock.